Alright, so last time we were able to add in this function to change both the height and color simultaneously when clicking on the button. So it's going back and forth, changing sizes. Well, let's add something a little bit more, I guess, complex. We're going to add in a function that's going to give us the time of that local computer that's accessing the page. So right here, we're going to build another function. Let's call it my clock. Makes sense. Now this is a different way of writing a function. Right here's the first way, where you're writing const, the actual button, or excuse me, the name of the component that you're building equals double parentheses, yields, and then there you go. Inside this way, it's essentially the same thing, but they do have some different properties on the back end. We can look at that a little bit later. So inside here, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have to keep a constant look for the value of what time is actually being produced. And you'll see more what I'm talking about in just a second. Ooh, definitely did not mean that. Well, let's first fix this. We're going to set up a value. And inside here, instead of holding a Boolean value, this one is actually going to contain the date that is being accessed at that moment. So we'll set up this right here. And so as soon as this value gets called upon, what's going to happen is that it's going to hold in this new value for the date. Okay. Now in here we're going to have to add a different hook called useEffect. And so what this does is that it actually helps it actually allows you to control the functionality of the component without having to do anything to invoke it. So what we'll do right here is we'll set up useEffect. And as soon as the page loads, I want it to go ahead and do a function. Inside this function, now remember, we already captured the date right here. And we can see that by setting up a console log of that value. Oops, we may have slightly deleted that. Let's see if that time will come up this time. Right here, my mistake was actually not, we'll make this camel case, not actually invoking it to begin with. So we'll change that to camel case. We added in that new component right here, and let's see what we got so far. this very well could be because this is not a fully formed function. So what we'll do is we'll add in a little space. And inside here, I kind of want to give a little indication. Let's see where the mistake is at. There it is. Let's close this div first, and let's see if that'll work a little bit better. There we go. So we have the current time label, and right underneath it, or actually before we even get to that, as you can see down here, it's already showing the date and time and the format that the value is actually being pulled in. So here's the new date. That's going to be saved inside a value. And right now we're going to go ahead and see if we can change that to something else. But first, I'm going to go ahead and create an actual slot for where the time is going to be displayed. And to show inside JSX, you're going to have to do a curly brace. And let's see if that doesn't blow up on us. All right, so it has multiple items inside there. And so instead of going crazy with it, we just want the time to be displayed, right? So inside here, we're going to change that to toLocalTimeString. Actually, this is going to have to be invoked. And there we go. All right, but the time is not actually changing, right? I kind of want it to change every time the actual time changes. So what we're going to do is we're going to create an interval to update this clock based on every second that passes. So from there, what we're going to do is we're going to set up an interval, right? And inside of this interval, we're going to create another function, and inside that function, we're going to update the status with the new value. And since this is going to be based on milliseconds, we're going to do it for every second. So every time this goes through, it's going to reiterate a new time. But we're not quite done here. Because we want to be able to reuse this and have it rolling over and over and over again, we're going to go ahead and add in another function to clear the interval. let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and refresh my page. It seems that it could have been stuck somewhere. As we wait here, I'm just looking over this just to make sure that all of my spacing, all of the values that I'm passing are all the same. Meanwhile, it's still loading the page again. So as you can see, some issues with the sandbox. For some reason it's taking a real long time to load up. But as soon as it comes back up, we'll hopefully get to see the new value being brought in and then have it change based on this 1 second interval. Okay. Looks like things are coming back up. The interval looks to be correct. Before I was seeing a red squiggly line which indicates there's an error, but it looks like the clock is actually now changing. So hopefully we'll see if we can modify this in the next video.